Holy moly, it's SmackDown time on the Equity.Guru Investor Roundtable. We're all wearing spandex tights off camera here, sweating. Rob Simpson along with Chris Perry, who you just saw pumping himself up. Down below is Vishal Vatura and, of course, TK Indicena. God, Chris, those two have been in the basement like the last 6 or 7 roundtables.
Well, you got to do your time in the indie leagues before you get to the big show.
Down in the dungeon before you get to move up here with us in the penthouse suite. But wrestling, it's all about wrestling, and no man on earth right now is better to talk about than Chris Perry.
So we're specifically focused on the WWE, which, formerly WWF. We grew up on this stuff. Millions of people have memories of dad or mom or grandma or grandpa taking them to events, watching events on TV back in the days when it was a couple of fat guys bouncing off each other. Today, we've gone through a whole bunch of cycles of evolution of wrestling, from the Attitude Era to the high-flying era to what is currently I would call it the soap opera era. And I've always wanted to invest in WWE because I like professional wrestling as a spectacle. But holy shitballs, has this company descended into nothingness. I tried to watch WWE programming over the last few weeks because we're creating our own independent wrestling promotion here at Equity.Guru. And holy guacamole, is it terrible? I'm trying to avoid swear words, but can I get a hell yeah? It sucks. It sucks, man. 20 minutes of dudes talking on a microphone in the middle of a ring. Well, your dick is smaller than my dick. Who gives a shit? Like, get to the wrestling. It's wrestling. It's not talking about wrestling. Like, open the show, get into a freaking contest, and let us see 6 or 7 fights in an hour. It's the way it used to be when it was the must-see TV. Nowadays, it's 20 minutes of talking about a fight, 10 minutes of ads, then another 10 minutes of ads about how you should join the WWE network so you can actually see the fights. Then another 20 minutes of talking. Then you might get to a fight. The other day, I saw the Intercontinental Championship title changed to someone new, and the match took 5 minutes. It used to be that those things didn't move unless it was a big build-up, and then a half-hour match with rises and falls and tragedy and comedy. Now it's like 5 minutes, 3 moves, a lot of talking, a whole bunch of and a hell yeah. And what the fuck is that? Like, honestly, what we're looking for is athletic contests. We're not looking for one guy telling another guy that his wife isn't satisfied. The female side of the things, I'm glad that the female wrestling is a thing and that it's actually held at the same level as male. That's an advance. But can we get someone out there who can actually wrestle and doesn't just look good in a two-piece? Like, if you're going to have female wrestling, make it about women's empowerment, not about women's asshole. Like, I just, in the last month, you've seen half of the roster let go. You've seen AEW rising on the back of Khan money. They've got billions of dollars. They're doing it right. They're letting the actual talent run the actual storylines instead of having one guy who's had his years and is more worried about the bottom line and XFL throwing together shitty. Look, man, I've talked to guys who've been in the WWE. I talked to guys recently who've been let go from the WWE, and they don't have any control of their character, of how the storylines roll out, who they're going to. It's just like one group of people saying, all right, learn your lines because you're on TV tonight. And it's like, what lines? I'm a wrestler. I'm here to throw people over the top rope. I'm not here to go through a 5-part act. Like, so there's rumors that Disney or someone is maybe looking at buying WWE. And if they are, it's because they're going to shovel it into Disney Plus and take a whole bunch of back catalog and move it into a place where people can access it, which is good because the current catalog is shit. It's the Blockbuster of entertainment sports. It is big because it's always been here. Right? I see people on the shows wearing Roman Reigns t-shirts and booing Roman Reigns. It's like people are going because it's a spectacle, but they're not going because they're invested in it. They're not going because WWE is their jam. They're sick of seeing Goldberg brought back from the ashes. You know, like it's. I could go on, but I'm gonna let the other.
But Chris, I just got to ask you though. Do you think? I mean, I've heard too. Apparently, like the backroom morale isn't the greatest too in the WWE because of all these people who are getting let go, and a lot of wrestlers are now even saying that the job security there, you know, they're a bit worried. I was reading an interview with John Cena, and he was saying the issue with WWE now going forward is they can't build that superstar anymore. You know, back in the day, we had The Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker. I guess now it's really just John Cena who can, you know, come sell out arenas. I guess The Rock is still there if he wants to come back here and there from Hollywood. But the big question is Vince not catching up to times? Like, has he lost the, you know, the trend? Some people are saying he's lost it and he's making very bad booking decisions and not allowing these guys to meet their potential. It seems Vince still likes, you know, that type of wrestler that's big and muscular rather than some of the guys that are a bit more high flying nowadays that can produce some exciting stuff.
True. You know, I'll let Chris answer, but I wanted to touch on. I used to love wrestling to the point where even if I got the game, I would spend hours on the side of the game where you're managing the events and stuff like that. And then naturally, I started looking into, is this actually how he does it? And etc. And a lot of the time, they focus on the main event, right? The big fight, the two people clashing over whatever period they've been clashing for. People at the time, it was mainly a focus on the wrestling and the ability of the wrestlers, but the show aspect was still there. So, for example, one of my favorites is Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was a good showman, but he was also good at the actual fighting that he was doing, which was part and parcel of the package that they were selling initially. But now I actually argue he's focused more on the business than the actual product itself. So no lie to you, they are pretty profitable. They've grown, but Chris alluded to, they've just been around for so long that if you were to go to any other place right now, if you look in the public markets, it's only WWE that's traded, and this other one called Lingerie Fighting Championship. I'm not joking. That is the only other one that's available.
I'm gonna jot that one down. Lingerie Wrestling Championship.
And their ticker is Bodie.
Really?
So those are your two options. It's either you're going to do that other one, or you want to focus on the WWE, which is where the Disney thing comes in hand. Disney basically controls most of our childhoods, and if they get a grasp on this, they've just
for sure going lingerie.
Look,
It's like MTV. They don't show music or videos anymore. So now WWE
does one TV show over and over again.
Does show wrestling.
When I related WWE to Blockbuster, that was very deliberate. I honestly believe that they're in the final stage of their existence as a thing. Right? The real prime time for the WWE was the Attitude Era when you know, they didn't give a shit, right? They were edgy, they were swearing, they were, you know, there was blood, now it is Disneyfied, right? Now it's all like ring entrances and 3D graphics and like, no one gives a shit. If you go to an independent wrestling show, like the events that were at the Commodore before COVID, you've got 2,000 people screaming, drunk, men and women, young and old. And the guys in the ring are doing it for next to no money. They just want to be in front of a bunch of people and get to perform their art. And they will kill themselves for the audience. Every match is better than the next match because everyone's trying to outdo the last guys. They'll come down from the balcony. They'll be body slamming on the concrete in the crowd. You know, they're out there to put on a damn show. And when I compare that to the Disneyfied bullshit that the WWE is right now, there's no damn comparison. It just builds up to their big events at the end of the year. And who cares, man? Like, you're supposed to be there putting on great house shows. You're supposed to be there putting on shows that aren't televised, but are just generating money in arenas around the country. And if you go to those house shows, it's like they'll have 20 matches, all of which are shit. Maybe one is good enough that they record it and put it on TV. but all they're doing is just keeping their talent busy.
Yeah.
You're not developing talent, because in order to develop, you've got to go through the NXT show. If you're good enough to get to the big show, well, you've got to kick someone back out the other way. Like, everyone should be in there. There should be like 50 people in the big show. They should be all competing with each other. They should be just like squeezing the fights in to get as many opportunities for the talent to show how talented they are. Not, 20 minutes of a guy signing a contract to fight another guy in 3 weeks. This is like when I'm driving to work across the Arthur Lang Bridge and there's a big sign in the middle of a damn lane of traffic warning that there's a traffic hazard 3 miles away. Like, why are you telling me now? Tell me when I'm nearly there. Everything to do with WWE makes me angry, because I know that there is 1,000 road warrior guys out there that drive 8 miles across a border, paying for their own gas money to earn $30 cracking their head on concrete in front of 50 guys in an Elks Lodge. And those guys just want a chance to do that in a big crowd. Instead, you've got Goldberg. Goldberg only ever had one move when he was hot. It's 20 years later and they're still bringing that douchebag back. Like, the whole company's on cruise control. So here's what we're doing, right? Putting our money where our mouth is.
Saturday night coming up this coming Saturday night.
September 11th, Saturday night, at the Gaming Stadium in Richmond. We are getting the best Pacific Northwest wrestlers there are. And by the best there are, I mean we ain't missing any of the champs. Everyone who is available is at our show. We are putting on a damn indie wrestling show where everyone on that card is out to demonstrate just how great they are. We're going to shoot the shit out of it so that at the end we have a TV show worthy of being seen on any channel. We're going to turn this into a reality show down the line. We're going to have regular wrestling in Vancouver, and not shitty wrestling in a scout hall, not a bunch of fluorescent lights overhead that the wrestlers have to duck under, but a real for reals. Give us everything you've got, put it all on the line, and if you get a pop from the crowd, then that moves you up the line. The thing that got me out of the WWE for a long time was there was a wrestler called Terry Taylor, good technical wrestler, had been around the indies for a long time, and I was following his career, and it was announced he was moving to WWF. Big news, great news. When he showed up, he had a mohawk dyed red, a blue jacket on, and they announced him as the Red Rooster, and he came to the ring doing that. Like, and then shortly after that was Doink the Clown. Doink the fucking Clown? Doink the Clown? Come on, man. Like, you've got guys that like changed their character 4 times in the space of 6 months.
That's
Like,
That's brutal.
I grew up in an era where the Junkyard Dog was a star, and all he did was moved his ass to a fucking theme song and give someone a clothesline, body slam them, and then wave his finger in the air. And that got over, right? That was all that was needed back then. These days, you've got guys who will fly 30 feet off the top of a cage onto the concrete floor. Why not let them? Why make them stand there and learn lines? Beyond all that, if you look at the financials of the WWE, they draw a lot of money. They don't make a lot of money. The last quarter, they had to blow through about $8 million paying people to go away, paying top talents that they've nurtured to go away and compete against them with somebody else. Why would you do that? You do that because you're trying to clean up the books. You do that because you spent too much money trying to get the XFL up and running. You do that because you've lost your focus. You don't have guys that are actually wrestling guys in control. You have screenwriters in control that are trying to tell storylines instead of show storylines. So nationextremewrestling.com is our wrestling promotion. We're going to do it right. We're coming at you, WWE. We're coming at you. We're going to put you in the floor. I'm going to make it, you're going to hit you so hard your family's going to feel it.
Very fast because we got to get out. So 3 words or less. You're not spending any money on the $50 share price, I'm guessing. Anybody buying shares? Anybody buying shares? All right.
Yeah.
Nation Extreme Wrestling on September 11th, NEW. It's going to be phenomenal. I go back to Flying Fred Curry. When I was pretend wrestling as a 5-year-old, it was Flying Fred Curry, and my brother was the Sheik. My other brother was Tex McKenzie, and they had the sleeper hold, and we had to pretend to pass out.
Ron Miller over here, man. Ron Miller, the fighting Australian.
Oh, nice. One of my favorite moments in an investor roundtable to date was right off the bat of this one when Chris Perry said, holy, and then was like, which word should I use? Which word should I use? Which word
So
should I
many
use?
words. and they're all swear
Guacamole.
words. They're all swear words.
Could have gone a lot of directions there. No investment advice really given, so no disclaimer given as well. You're out there to research your own investments. So if you want to spend money on WWE, you folks go for it. We're not the ones who told you to do it. And check out Nation Extreme Wrestling. Saturday night, where's the location, Chris?
Gaming Stadium in Richmond. Also, by the way, Gaming Stadium is an interesting stock to follow. We did a roundtable on them a couple of weeks back. TGS, go look at it. Worth doing. But mainly, get yourself out there on September 11 and see what real professional wrestling looks like when it's balls to the wall and everyone is trying to outdo everyone else. And no scripted scenes.
Nice.
Well, I mean, scripted scenes, but no, like, words.
Right. For Chris, TK, Michelle, see you next time on the Equity Guru Investor Roundtable.
Oh.